I phoned and phoned and phoned. I think I phoned for like almost 5 days straight until they gave me an audition. They gave me an audition and I got chorus. Yeah. Wow. And eventually I got one solo line. And I was like, whew. I got 48 shows at the Royal Festival Hall doing Carmen Jones.
Coming from being an assistant at a trading floor. No portfolio, no agent.
Yeah. And this is what I mean. We have the capacity to create anything we wish. It is an active step. You have to pick up the phone. You have to write that letter. You have to have that conversation.
Why did you decide to move after 5 years?
I felt that I wouldn't be able to grow in the way that I thought I would be able to grow. And I just felt I wanted something bigger. I wanted to be in a bigger environment. Bigger isn't better. Mm-hmm. But that's what I felt I wished for. And I ended up on a trading floor.
Doing?
I just as an assistant.
Okay.
Just as an assistant on a trading floor. How many? It was quite a big floor. And I think it was Kleinwort Benson I went to.
Which used to be Dresner?
No. Kleinwort Benson was Kleinwort Benson. It changed to Dresner Kleinwort Benson.
Okay.
Yeah. It started as Kleinwort Benson and it changed to Dresner Kleinwort Benson.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that's a big deal, especially back then, because they had a bigger presence, because that's when Lehman Brothers were around. So
Yeah.
So you was on a trading floor. What was that? Because that's more...
I loved it!
like a marketplace, isn't it?
Oh, I loved it. I love those environments. They were very buzzy. Again, I was in an environment that really appreciated my character.
Wow.
So the attention to detail now came into full force because I was looking after a manager or a director, mm-hmm. and then he'd have a team of 30. And then I had also had an assistant. So now I was being in the space where I had an assistant, So, but I just loved it. I loved being on top of it. I just loved it.
Wow. And you were doing long days as well there?
I did very long days as well there. But I mean, I'm not shy to hard work.
And did you have client work? So was you meeting clients there?
I didn't. So then that changed. So in that, I had more of a personal hands-on at my initial place where I was. But then when I moved it now, I didn't get hardly any client. Well, the clients knew who I were, obviously, because I spoke to them on the phone. But my kind of dynamic changed from there. And I didn't get any cuts of the deals or anything like that. So,
right.
It was just a completely different way to be.
And from the perspective of what you were actually doing as an assistant, were you assisting traders? So helping with the administration of like settling accounts, making sure the deals went through, or
I didn't have to do that. Basically, all I did at that stage was just like travel and meetings and booking clients and all of that kind of stuff. That's what I did.
And did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I don't think it used all of my brain capacity. Of course, it didn't, because I'd just come from that space. But actually, also that was okay because I had a band and I was playing in a band and, it was so...
You had the balance.
Yeah, I had a kind of a different balance, and I would be at clubs, like I'd go to AWOL and, it was just a different time for me. Yeah.
Nice. How many years were you up there?
No idea. You ask me these questions and I just don't know.
More than 5 years?
No.
Okay.
No, I know it wasn't more than 5 years. That I do remember, but I can't remember how long.
And then where did you go next?
After Kleinwort, where did I go next? Do you know what? I think after Kleinwort, I ended up somewhere like ING Bearings.
Okay. Yep.
I think I ended up there.
Back to the trading floor?
Yeah. But this time as a temp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I temped, because I didn't want to be contracted to anyone. But I can't remember why. And I do also remember then, one of the things that I did do was, I said I'd had enough, I felt burnt out.
Right.
And I came home to my partner at the time and I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm burnt out. Da, da, da. I'm just going to become a waitress. My partner just went, well, go and become a waitress then. Literally, that's what I did.
Seriously?
I went, I ended up in Ed's Easy Diner in Shaftesbury Avenue. And I started working there.
Full time?
Yep.
Random.
I just, I just see life as a space of, if you've had enough of something, or if you believe that you're energetically not in the right place, it's your duty to create your own zones of genius, And I've never had so much fun.
Really?
Oh, I can feel my tears. I'm feeling quite emotional about it. Oh, yeah, I never had so much fun. It was the first time where I just didn't have all this responsibility. I served tables. I laughed with children. I danced. I communicated with people. I gave great service because I understood people.
Mm-hmm.
And that was life changing for me actually. Now that I'm beginning to sit here, I mean, it was life changing, and I met the most glorious people that I would never have met.
Yeah, that's right. If he was on the trading floor.
Yeah, I would never have met them. I just wouldn't.
I know you're going to say, why are you asking me this question? How long did you stay?
Oh, about a year, just over a year.
And then
I ended up in another restaurant.
Okay.
And called Scoffers, and I was like doing that in the evenings.
While she was temping in the day?
No, I was just literally doing that in the evenings. And then when the bosses would go away, I would manage the restaurant. So they'd put me straight into to management. And I have to say, actually, now that you're reminding me, before I even started on A Way to Yes, I always had a Saturday job.
Right. Was that because...
That's really important to say, actually, because, my mind was always in a work space. And I was very entrepreneurial. So do you remember... Gosh, I can't believe we're having this conversation. Do you remember the times where we used to wear, well, I used to wear, I'm going to own it, I used to wear those slash T-shirts.
Yeah.
Did you used to?
I definitely did it. But I'm with you. We'll put one up on the screen so people can relate.
And I used to make them. And I used to go to shops and sell the T-shirts to the shops. And I used to get money for them.
Wow.
So I was very entrepreneurial. Anyway, my brain was always, if it can be done, just do it. I think that's why I've got a mentor scheme called Everybody Can now, because I just believe that if you actually put your mind to it, anything's possible.
Brilliant. So you've always had one from when you had your first corporate finance job, always a Saturday job, all the way back then?
Before that.
Even before that?
No, but before that, like I think I started working. I had even a Saturday job at Brixton Market on the stalls, and then I'd moved to, I don't know if you know Brixton at all, but I used to work in a shop called Curtis Shoe Shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've done it all.
So it's that thing of recognizing that there was always that thing in me to create and to be responsible, because you have to be responsible, to own responsibility, to be in leadership. People are looking, don't see themselves as leaders, but they have to look, I believe that you have to look for different places in your life where you have stepped up.
Yeah.
And sometimes that starts from a really, really, really young age. And I talk about a lot these days about how we can be self-led, because, people often think about leadership as people leading everybody and others. And actually, can you actually lead yourself? Can you not betray yourself? Can you keep your promises to yourself?
It's important.
That's the first and foremost that it starts. But yeah, I digress. But that's my kind of pathway.
So restaurants, waitress, now manager.
Yeah.
Of a restaurant, and then are we going back to the corporate world?
Yes, we are, because I've had a bit of a break now.
Oh, okay.
But again, I went back in as a temp, and I ended up in Deutsche Bank.
Okay.
And
Trading floor.
trading floor again.
Yeah.
They loved me, I loved them. And
Which always helps.
yeah, exactly. But I think what happened there, I was just about to be offered a space where I could actually be a trader. Okay, so there was going to be some investment in me to do, you know, my FSA exams and just get everything into that channel. But before, my boss said to me, before I do that, he said, you know, you're a very intelligent woman. We're all in our 40s now. You know, for them, that was old at the time. That's nowhere near old now. But, you know, we're in our 40s now and we can't make other decisions or choices about what we do because we've entrenched in the money of what we do. Is there anything else that you would love to do? And I said, you know what? When I was at secondary school, there was this teacher. And her name was Mrs. Lake, and she played me the Queen of the Nights aria from Mozart's Magic Flute. And she made me listen to it, and she said, you could sing like that one day. And I never got the opportunity to do that, and I'd like to go and see if I can do it. He goes, 3 months. 3 months. I'm going to leave your job open for you for 3 months. If you can't, I know it's amazing. If you don't, you know, get what you feel out of it, come back and we'll start. Literally, I was like, wow, what an opportunity. I can, you know. So I literally, they were doing Carmen Jones at the Royal Festival Hall. I phoned and phoned and phoned. I think I phoned for like almost 5 days straight until they gave me an audition. They gave me an audition and I got chorus. Yeah.
Wow.
And eventually I got one solo line. And I was like, whew. I got 48 shows at the Royal Festival Hall doing Carmen Jones.
Coming from being an assistant at a trading floor. No portfolio, no agent.
Yeah. And this is what I mean. We have the capacity to create anything we wish. It is an active step. You have to pick up the phone. You have to write that letter. You have to have that conversation. Because I love the word, lots of people, and I've used it today, and I don't like using the word want. And want means lack. Okay, so I try to get rid of that word as much as possible. So I thought, what is another word? And the word is desire. Yeah? So I looked it up in etymology, and what does it mean? It means wish. And then I looked up wish, and I was like, what does that mean? And there's nothing behind it. And I thought, yeah, why is there nothing behind it? Because we're the genie. We're the one that creates our wish. You know, those folklores, those fables that, you know, like that we hear are different metaphors for life. You know, if we rub our lamp, you know, we can manifest anything, you know. So, yeah.
48 shows just because you pestered them for 5 days. 48
shows. And while I was there was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful guy called Hervé Goffings from France. And he said, Nadine, you must go and audition for Porgy and Bess. And I said, what's Porgy and Bess? He just looked at me and he said, you've never heard of Porgy and Bess? I was like, no, I've never heard of Porgy and Bess. So he fills in the form for me, and I take what are they called? I take a coach to Paris, and I audition at the Opera Bastille.
Wow.
One of the biggest opera houses.
Literally. Wow.
But I'm so frightened now.
Oh, okay.
I'm so frightened. And I turn up, and there's like a panel of 5. And I turn up for the audition.
You and a piano.
They can see I'm shaking. They can see. So they say, can you sing line by line? There's like 500 people have auditioned, right? But they gave me this chance. Here was another poignant moment. It was another change in the wheel for me. And I sang line by line. They gave me the job.
Wow.
This time, I got chorus, but instead of getting one solo line, I got 7 solo lines. And I was like,
Is this your second job?
that's my second job.
Impact. Sorry. It's going to take a while for this to really marinate.
But I put myself in the experience. We're always putting ourselves in the experience of life, yeah? Life is a game. You know, I don't know if you've ever read the book Florence Scovel Shinn called The Game of Life. Such a wonderful book. You know, she uses a lot of scripture-based stuff, but if you just look at some of the stuff, she just switches it. Instead of God, she says law, you know, or, you know, but she shows the game of life and the game of thinking and manifesting, you know. And when you put yourself in those experiences and you do your best, the universe speaks back to you. I really believe that.
Well, it clearly did.
It clearly did.
How many years did you do? So you moved to Paris now?
I didn't move to Paris because the actual show was taking place at Opera de Lyon. And I think I was there for about 3 months. I had to move there for 3 months because opera doesn't do like long stints. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
So I was there for 3 months, 3.5 months. I had the time of my life. It was amazing. And then repeated it again, I think a year or a couple of years after that.
For 3 months at a time?
Yeah.
Okay.
But when I came back to England, I was like, the first time I got one solo line. The second time, so I'm very good at looking for patterns.
Right.
By then, I had started learning how to be a coach as well. I want to put that in the framework, and I'd been having therapy since I was about 20. So, you know, my way of thinking wasn't just, oh, I can't do this, or you know, I was looking for different avenues and different patterns. And I said, oh, actually, if I've had 7 solo lines, I must be a soloist. I must be. So I had done an evening course in between that time at City Lit. And I went back to the guy, Peter Crockford, at the time, and I said to him, what do I need to do to go to the next level? Because, you know, I don't know, I don't know what I need to... He said, you need sponsorship. And I said, what kind of sponsorship? He said, well, people pay for your lessons and you can... Because it's very expensive to do what you're, you know, just about to embark on.
Is it because there's not many people doing it, so therefore the ones that do it, they charge more?
No, it's the fact that the craft of singing opera is a long game.
Okay.
It's not a short game.
Right.
A long game. And even now, I still go and have my lessons and top myself up, and you know, it's a long game. And so I said, okay, then, what do I know? I'm going to write a business plan for becoming an opera singer. So I wrote a business plan, and I wrote this letter, and I sent it off to 150 people. I've sent it off to Cameron McIntosh, Vodafone, Orange.
Wow.
I mean, literally, I didn't care. I just, you know, I said, this is what I'm wishing to do. Please support me. One woman came back to me. She supported me for 3 years.
What does the woman do? Who is she?
Anonymous.
You're kidding?
And always will remain anonymous.
Oh, you know who it is, but you're...
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's just a lady that likes music, or...
Yeah, she loves music. And she could see that, you know, she said, anyone who's written a plan to actually activate themselves, she says, I'm with them.
Wow.
And so I was able to choose my teachers. And I'd like to say, and be really transparent here, in that time, I had also auditioned at all the colleges, and I didn't get into any of them.
Oh, to study?
Yeah. And I didn't get into any of them.
Wow.
So the time when I could go to university, I didn't get into the university to do what I wished to study. So the point of plan was then that I had to make my own way of schooling for myself.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and I found teachers. I went to summer schools. I sang with local orchestras, and I'd get to one place and then I'd check in, I think at National Opera Studio. I went to go to audition there. Didn't get in there either, even when I'd got to a next level. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I was mentoring with somebody at the time. And she said, don't worry about that. Don't watch that. I was a blow-in. Just because they keep saying no, and this is this thing about rejection.
Yeah.
Just because people keep saying no doesn't mean that that's your no.
Yeah, that's their name.
That's their no. Do not let people's, opinion of who you are become your reality. You have to know what your reality is. And sometimes it does. You do need witnesses, but you do challenges as well. So you hold on to what you believe your vision is for yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you got the sponsorship for 3 years.
Got the sponsorship for 3 years, went to different,
So just so I can understand, so you get a sponsorship so that you can sustain yourself to get the lessons. But is it also to sustain yourself in terms of like financially as well?
No.
Just
to sing.
So where were you working this from?
I think I was just waitressing. I wasn't doing.
Okay.
I wasn't doing anything glamorous.
Right.
But yeah, but I was literally all the time, 7 days a week, working towards this vision of what I had of becoming an opera singer.
So 3 years passed, no more sponsorship. You go for a new sponsorship, or what happens next?
What happens next? I start to get jobs.
Wow.
And little by little, I get noticed by the industry.
Right.
And then one day in my email box, I just get the place that I didn't get into, National Opera Studio, just says, we're running a diverse voices program. Would you like to come and get some coaching?
Oh, okay.
So I got some coaching with them. So the way the voice works is you have singing lessons, but you also have vocal coaching. So because you're learning new repertoire all the time, you're singing in Italian, French, German, Russian, Czech, So it's really important.
Can you sing in all those languages?
I can sing in German, French, Italian. I've never done Czech and I haven't done Russian yet. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted, but I was interested.
No, not at all.
So you get the coaching?
Yeah, so I get this coaching, and then I get another email in my inbox about having an audition at English National Opera. And I'm like, wow, I'm getting an audition at English National Opera. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And I'm like, this is my dream. I want to be here.
And is this audition for solo or chorus?
Yes.
Solo only? Woo! Now we're talking.
This is at Musetta in La Bohème, for Musetta in La Bohème. In between that, I get another offer to come and audition for the same company, but for Clara in Porgy and Bess. Mm-hmm. And they were wondering whether I could audition both of them at the same time. And I was like, I don't think that's a good idea.
Because your voice as well, isn't it?
No. Because I don't know if you know this, but Porgy and Bess is kind of seen as a place where black singers, really good black singers, it's a great vehicle for black singers, but it's also a space where black singers can get stuck and not get to do what they wish to do. So I had already been forewarned by some mentors to not get stuck there. So if I put them together, there's more chance that they would give me that and not that.
Right.
So I said, can I have them as separate auditions, please? And can I have the Musetta first? Mm-hmm. So I had the Musetta audition first. And I then went to the opera that evening. And the casting director comes up to me and she says, you haven't answered your email. And I goes, what has my email said? We offered you Musetta. And I was like, oh my God! I started crying. I was in the middle of the opera house and I just started crying. I was like, oh my God, this is happening. This is real. The compound happened.
Yeah, because you planned. The plan is coming to fruition.
Yeah, the compound happened. And so I was really grateful. I got down on my knees that night and just thanked the universe, God, just for getting me this far. And then later on, I think it was a couple of weeks later, I had then the Clara audition and I got the Clara as well. So I came literally out of Musetta from doing Musetta. No, I started with the Clara and then came out of the Clara show and went straight into Musetta in La Bohème in the big opera house. And I have to say this was massive for me because all the people that I had looked up to who had gone before me in opera were in this chorus of Porgy and Bess, like great voices. They had the casting director was so clever. She got the most supreme singers to be everywhere. So I wouldn't ever look at it as kind of soloist and chorus, because the level of singing that was there was, anybody could have been singing my part out of that, but I was the one given that opportunity.
Yeah.
And I
Definitely.
remember being up about so high up in the set, and it was moving around, and I had a baby in my hand, rocking, and I started. I'm the first person. This is the first time I'm singing as a professional soloist to 2,500 people. And I'm up there, and I know that some of my greatest mentors are down there, and I'm saying, Nadine, you have to get this right. You cannot mess this up. You can't. And I've got a B flat at the end of the aria, at the end of Summertime, and I just went, God, take me. And I just remember going, ah. And then I turned round with the stage and I burst into tears.
Was that the last note?
No, it was the last note of the aria, but it was the beginning of the show.
Oh.
And I just said, and I then I just spoke to myself. We talk about mindset, and I spoke to myself, and I goes, "Come on, Nadine, get yourself together, get on with the rest of the show. You've started it now. You started off well. Continue well. Let's go."
Wow. So now, in terms of, because I'm just trying to get perspective for those that are not creative and they don't know this world. So you're now full solo. How long do you go on for this in these two roles? You're managing two, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm managing two roles. So when your rehearsals of a show is about 6 weeks, and then the amount of shows that you get to do can be anywhere between 6 and 9 shows.
Right.
So each one had 6 or 9 shows. But the energy level of what it takes to do opera is a lot. You're using your whole body. You're not just you're using your mind. You're sorting, phrasing. What's the orchestra doing? You're doing the conductor. You're acting. You're singing. You're costuming. You're in relation with people. It's a wonderful job, but it's not for the faint-hearted.
And for the context, for people to understand the level what we're talking about in terms of prestige.
Yeah.
So those two specific ones, because I don't know the opera scene, so I'm not going to pretend that I know. Is there ones that you would say, is it more about the popularity of the show, or is it the difficult, like where does this sit? If we're, again, not being too,
So you're looking at a house.
Right.
So there's A, B, C, D houses.
Right.
And my kind of proper first professional job is in an A house.
So you're like, you hit it.
Yeah.
So what is the kind of the supplementary things? What's the spillover? So this is what you do, day job. You're obviously on the billboards now, etc.
Yeah.
Highly publicized, and you did it for a couple of years, or was it?
I'm still a soprano now, but you just go off to different shows.
No, those specific shows.
Oh no, not a couple of. Literally, you get 6 or 9 performances.
Oh, and that's it. And
that's it, and then you move on to the next show, and then so you get another 9, and then you move on to the next show.
But then, from a CV perspective, it's like, yeah, you've ticked a real big box.
It's
and
a
your
massive
CV.
box. It was a massive box, And there, along the way, I had done sang at companies like Opera Holland Park, who were festival operas, places, and I'd gone to the Mediterranean Opera School, so places like that where I was able to really keep honing my craft.
Yeah, because it's not like you said, it's not like one of those things where you say, yeah, I'm an artist, and then you're done.
No, you're as good as your last show. That's it.
Right.
Yeah. And so, this morning I was in the Opera House, actually. I've been there this morning, and literally I've been...
As in the Opera House, the Royal Opera House?
Yes, I've been in the Royal Opera House.
No, whispering in the Royal Opera House, as you do?
Yeah, but that's my job.
That's
what
right,
I do.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get I'm messing around.
Yeah. So yeah, but I was in a coaching this morning with a teacher, a vocal coach called Jack Lavigne, who runs the Mediterranean Opera School, and an osteopath called Anne Coxhead. And she also believes in breath work as well. And I had a pianist in there with me, Mark Verte. So still today, I've got the 4 last songs on Wednesday coming. at the Royal Festival Hall. And so she's standing there with her hand on my ribs, like, let's get that breath out, Nadine, expand, da, 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 da. If you move yourself forward, like getting me really into my body. And I've got Jack saying, no, more legato, more words, more vibration, more da, da, da. And I've got Mark going, oh no, you missed the beat here, da, 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 da. It's so I'm in a room with 3 people getting one thing right. So it's a high performance job. I think that's why I'm a high performance coach. That getting, and in high performance, I teach about, clarity, courage, energy. The man behind high performance is Brendan Burchard, who the coaching principles behind that. And I'm so happy that I can apply all those skills to what I do, because being an opera singer is like being a racing car driver or a polo player or a tennis player, or, you have to be on it.
And you sound like you are on it. But
I love it.
I'm hearing the trajectory of the journey, and that second job where they said you need to get it right. And if you get one thing, make one mistake on the typewriter, we're starting again. That discipline, like you said, it's carried, and like you said, you can take the toolbox and you can move it along. So for where we are now, I think we have to probably list it on the screen how many shows you've actually done. But it's taken you around the world.
It's taken me around the world. Yeah, I've been to New York. I've been to obviously to France.
So you've done Broadway?
I haven't done Broadway. No, not yet.
Is the opera scene different? Is it not Broadway?
It's not Broadway.
Oh,
no.
okay.
yeah. But I've sung in different venues, really lovely venues all around the world.
Carnegie Hall.
I haven't done Carnegie Hall yet. That's on my wish list.
Good.
That's something I would love to do.
So what can we expect from you next? The Soprano.
As the Soprano, you can expect I've got some concerts. I don't know when this interview is going out, but I've got some concerts coming up very soon. I've got a concert a month. One's at St James's in Piccadilly on the 3rd of February, and then this Wednesday on January the 18th, I'm doing the 4 Last Songs with the Lambeth Orchestra. With the Lambeth Orchestra as well, that's really lovely. And also I'm doing songs by black and mixed race composers at the Barbican on the 23rd of February. And then I start Blue. And Blue is a story that I'm going to be doing. I'm playing one of the leads, the mother, at English National Opera. And it's all about a black father who's a policeman. And it's about their son. And you'll have to come and watch it to read the rest.
No, it sounds brilliant. We're definitely going to do that.
But I'm playing the mother of that son, and it's a story of a lot of heart, So I'm looking forward to doing that. And then I wish to make more albums, because I aim to make an album every 1 to 2 years, because I love that. My last classical album is Love and Prayer. So that's an album that I've got out. But I'd like to make a new one. That would be fantastic.
Excellent. But indeed, it has been, we could talk all day, because I am super intrigued, but we definitely have to go. But we're going to have to get you back next time, when you can now give us the next, we call it discography of all of the works that you've done, because I'm sure there's more in the pipeline.
Well, it would be great, I think, next time to come and talk about coaching, because, I have been a coach for like 22 years. So it would be really great to come and talk about the mindset of, being empowered, and what does that mean, and going from a disempowered state to an empowered state, and around reclaiming your power and what that looks like.
Oh, no. Most definitely. Yeah. We're going to get that in the diary.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
No, it's a pleasure.
It's been my pleasure.
Forward thinking.